ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Tuesday, May 27th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. Hope everyone had a safe and I hope you had a great Memorial Day. I mean, that's just flat out. Hope you had a great Memorial Day. And there was a lot of sports to watch over the weekend, and I hope you had a chance to maybe visit some loved ones, of course, pay respects to the fallen, take in everything that it is Memorial Day. So I hope that you got a chance to experience a good Memorial Day, but we are back at it now. So we'll get our text line going in just a few minutes. It's been a few days since we've done that, and as I mentioned, we had a lot going on over the weekend. A lot of it I did not watch. I'm going to be just upfront with you. I did not think that the coverage was all that good on the Indianapolis 500. The ratings were there. I just wasn't impressed with Fox's call of the race. Of course, I didn't even remember the Coca-Cola 600 was on because on several days I was watching. Now, this is just me. We had NBA. We had Stanley Cup playoffs. We had the Worlds going on. And if you're a follower of hockey, you know what I'm talking about. The United States won the men's Worlds for the first time in 92 years. This is the World Championship. And the United States has won it before, but those were Olympic years when the Olympic year counted. So this is actually the first time that the United States has won the men's Worlds since we got to go back, 92 years? I think it's 1932. I believe that's right. And so that was fun to watch and to behold. And, it was a great weekend sports-wise overall. So now we settle down and we get back into it. Of course, we had a lot of Marshall baseball as well. How many of you made the trip? I know a few of you made. I saw some green jerseys down there. I saw some green. But for the most part, I'm sure a lot of us were just sitting back watching it, listening to Steve Cotton call those games. And that was fun. The herd made it interesting, got it done for the most part, got to Saturday. And if Marshall could have won 2 games against Coastal, would have played on Sunday. Coastal, of course, is hosting. Southern Miss is hosting. These are 2 of the best teams in the country. And Marshall played well with Coastal Carolina. Now, I'm not looking for moral victories here, but you got to take this season and step back a little bit and go, you know what? This is a lot better than a lot of the experts thought Marshall baseball would be. Marshall finishing 4th in the standings. Marshall playing well against one of the top teams in the country in Coastal Carolina. The Sun Belt, of course, represented in the NCAA tournament. And I thought that this was a good moment for Marshall baseball. Now, what the challenge is going to be is, can you turn this into success next year? And that's going to be the bigger challenge. Okay, you now see some success. Part of that is because you have a facility. You're able to now recruit to Huntington. You don't lose battles anymore. Now you got to go out and win them. Before, Marshall couldn't even go out and win them because Marshall had lost those battles before it even began. No facility. It's embarrassing. Now Marshall's actually legitimate program, legitimate facilities. And so here we are, competitive in one of the better non-power leagues. And I might argue Sunbelt's probably better than some of the power leagues, or at least Sunbelt can compete with the power leagues on par in baseball. So it was a good weekend, I thought, for Marshall. It was fun to listen to, and I hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully next year we can see Marshall go all the way to Sunday. But it was great to see the herd playing on Saturday. It wasn't a great outcome for West Virginia in the Big 12, but the Mountaineers are going to be in the Clemson Regional, taking on Kentucky. That's going to be Friday at noon. I've already been informed by our news director, Bill Cornwell, that he is all set, ready to go for that game. He will be decked out in all of his Kentucky blues, rooting on his beloved Wildcats. And so that's going to be a fun one, little border battle going on. I don't know how much of a real rivalry there is between Kentucky and West Virginia. This isn't like it's Kentucky and Tennessee, nothing like that. And of course, Kentucky's in Lexington, West Virginia's in Morgantown. There's not that much geographic interaction between the two. Of course, you have that buffer zone in between called Huntington. But for the most part, most people I know are going to be rooting for Kentucky in that series, and there will be some Mountaineer fans. So I'm interested in how significant that is as West Virginia making it back. Again, baseball program's taken off. You get a new facility. You can recruit to it. You can start playing some better baseball, winning some battles you might not have won before recruiting-wise because, you're on par with some of your other peer institutions. That's kind of the theme here. Who do you got in that, though? That's the thing. You take Kentucky, you take West Virginia. Not who you want, who you got. I know Marshall fans are probably taking Kentucky. Is that fair to say? I'm not trying to stir it up, but I think Marshall fans, at least the ones that live around here, are rooting for Kentucky. And I'm going to call some Herd fans out. Kentucky seems to be a fallback team for a lot of Marshall fans. I'm sorry. I hate to say that, but it's true. I've got photos to prove that. So I think for a lot of people, you're dead on in Kentucky. For a lot of other people, you're picking Kentucky. That's going to be your team to follow, at least for the next few days. For me, I'm just going to kick back because we got a lot of baseball, and we got a lot of basketball, and we got a lot of hockey still to get into. Of course, the Stanley Cup continues tonight as the Edmonton Oilers try to take a 3-1 lead over the Dallas Stars in the Western Conference Final. That's coming up tonight at 8 o'clock. We'll have that on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Yesterday, Carolina actually won a game in the Eastern Conference Final. Carolina had lost 15 straight games in the Eastern Conference Final. So they break through, they get a game, and now Florida leads that series 3-1. Carolina's going to have to win out if it wants to go to the Stanley Cup. The Oilers, Dallas, that's a little bit more of a competitive series. I'm starting to lean towards Edmonton in that one. And then the NBA, let me tell you, I didn't give up on the game, but when the Pacers were up by 20 over the Knicks, I didn't give up. I'm like, okay, look at New York. The way they finished strong in that first half. Okay, maybe they got something here. And just watch that with amazement how the Knicks started to play better and went into a situation where it could have been on the verge. Indiana could have won that game and put the Knicks on the verge of an elimination, and instead the Knicks win. It's a 2-1 series now. Game 4 is coming up tonight. Knicks at Pacers. That should be fun. If the Knicks can tie this, I'm still sticking with my Knicks in 7. Knicks in 7. The thing is, the Knicks are going to have to win out on the road and get one at home. And I think the Knicks are better on the road than at home. So that is possible. But Pacers could shut this thing down or at least put a serious roadblock in front of the Knicks with a win tonight. We'll see. All of that coming up. Should be fun. And, of course, we get back to baseball as well. Yesterday, of course, it was fun. You had a little Memorial Day baseball. Always enjoy that. The Reds got the win over the Royals 7-4. It's coming up 7:40 tonight. Another matchup between those two. And then the Dodgers got the better of the Guardians 7-2. They'll meet again tonight at 6:10. And then the D-backs shut out the Pirates 5-0. If you're sticking around late for that one tonight, 9:15 airtime. Late night game. We'll have it for you here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And then tomorrow it's going to be, and here's the thing, we're going to be off the air tomorrow for the show because we have got a 3:15 airtime. It's the getaway game for the Pirates in that series. So we're back a day, we're off a day. That's okay. The show's about you. So we've had a few days where we haven't had a chance to talk. So let's get started with our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. It was an interesting weekend. An Olympic icon from the state of West Virginia, finds herself charged with DUI. We'll talk about that. A stunning revelation here. One, it just proves everybody's human. But two, here's an icon, an Olympic icon, that everybody everybody in the state of West Virginia look to. Also, for those of you that are of that gamer crowd, you know who you are. I know who you are. The cover athletes have been selected for the new EA Sports College Football 26. And something else I want to get into, we'll probably spend a little bit more time with it than the other things, is Greg Sankey, SEC Commissioner. Here we go again. We've talked about this whole proposal for the Big Ten to get 4 automatic spots, the SEC to get 4 automatic spots, the Big 12 gets 2, the ACC gets 2, and then the highest group of 5 champion gets 1, and then the rest are up for grabs. And he's talking about, maybe that's not even the right model for us. But we're getting to the point now where the Big Ten and the SEC are trying to shape this thing even further. And instead of, just for the good of the game, adults getting together in the room and figuring out what makes the most sense for the game, it's evident to me that the Power 4 schools cannot truly be governed because each conference is out for itself. They cannot govern the sport. And so we've been asking for years for true legislation to rein this stuff in because, let's be honest, if you leave it to these guys, they're going to ruin it. And it's already falling apart. College athletics is right now, me first, how much can you make? And I think some other big questions need to be answered about transfer portal. Those are things that need to come up. But no, we're worried about how many Big Ten and SEC schools should get automatic bids to the college football playoff. Look, let's be quite honest. If you can't win your conference championship, you don't deserve to be in the playoff unless there's an at-large spot. Plain and simple. Conference champions should get in. I don't care. If Ohio State's got to play Marshall in a 3-14 game, I don't. That's fine with me. I don't know. I'll take that. Seed this thing, and I'm good with that. Seeding it would make more sense. Everybody should get a shot at this, and I don't mean everybody, but there should be a clear path. If I'm playing college football in the Sun Belt and I win the Sun Belt Conference Championship, instead of looking at a bowl game where I'm not going to go participate because, all my players are leaving, how about let's have that champion get in? All the champions get in. It works in college basketball. Nobody seems to be complaining that I know of. That's actually worth listening to on that. So why can't we do something similar for college football? Because you have individuals that cannot be adults in the room. So we'll get your thoughts on that, and we'll open up our text line to it, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You're listening to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hurt at work? Tom Boggs is here for you in Huntington, and he's brought the expertise of Warner Law Offices with him.
Call 345-6789.
The soundtrack of your summer is back. Mount West 9th Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition. Presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. This Friday, May 30th, it's Emeritus College Night with the Settlement on the Marshall OBGYN stage. Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Gomart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Next Friday, June 6th, 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. Mark your calendar for Friday, June 20th, when the local Honeys make their 9th Street Live debut. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 15th. 9th Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Every Friday night through Labor Day. 9th Street in Huntington, in between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, the City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kindred Communication. Don't miss the fun.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer? It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying boarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with this Tuesday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So we touched on it a little bit earlier if you were with us. Greg Sankey says that 4 automatic bids for the SEC could actually cost them positions. Why stop at 4? Let's get 6 in. You know what? Let's just have the entire SEC play a tournament and then invite some of the Big Ten teams as well. Or what about you could have 8 and 8. You could have the Big Ten versus the SEC. You know what? Yeah, forget the ACC. Forget the Big 12. Nobody cares about those schools, right? No. He's at the spring meetings. And, of course, there's a proposal out there, 16-team playoff, that would guarantee the SEC and the Big Ten 4 spots each. And I think that's ludicrous to begin with. There should not be guaranteed more. You get 1 spot guaranteed. Every other spot should be earned. Now, there are going to be years where the Big Ten will guarantee itself by its play on the field more than 1 spot, 3, 4, 5. And that's the same thing with the SEC. If you want to truly make this about the best teams possible, then you're going to go with they're seeding now, so you don't even get the automatic first round bye if you get the automatic qualifier. That's different. You got an automatic qualifier, but you don't get a first round bye. You're going to be seeded. But we're looking at a situation where instead of trying to put together the best field possible, it's almost as if the Big Ten and the SEC are trying to put the best field possible for the SEC and the Big Ten. Now, there's that 5+11 model where each of the power conferences get the automatic berth along with the highest ranked conference champion. And then the other 11 spots would be spread out among the 11 highest teams in the college football playoff ranking. Everything is, of course, going to be up for debate. Either way, the SEC and the Big Ten are trying to dominate the playoff. Why wouldn't they? Because they're the two biggest, and so they have the most to lose. They're trying to absorb all this money possible. And I think it's just a symptom of the system being out of whack. The system puts college athletics in this position because you're trying to outspend everyone. I mean, we got to the point now where it's a pro model, a poor pro model, but it's a poor pro model still. And they're still talking about discussions. How about this? You put yourself in a position where if you get a conference champion, if you win your conference championship, you get in, and then you have the rest of the teams are at large. Make it fair for everyone. Can't do that, can we? We can't make it fair because that would then mean that at some level there is some equity. At some level there is a system that will allow a school from the MAC to get in as much as the school from Conference USA, as much as school from the Sun Belt has a chance to get in, and then what happens on the field happens on the field. We don't seem to have this problem truly college basketball. We like it. The tournament becoming a little bit, because it's become more predictable now, and that's just how it's going to be. But it was always good to see different schools get in. It made it more exciting. There were upsets, but we're looking at a situation where I don't think that leadership can govern itself. I don't believe this is a truly self-governing group of people because of the fact that the Big Ten is going to do what the Big Ten needs to do for the Big Ten, not for the good of the game. The SEC is going to do what's good for the SEC and not for the good of the game. Now the SEC will say, hey, look, we are the game, and that's fine. You can put yourself in that situation. But there's also the possibility of adding a ninth league game to SEC schedules. And, of course, that would mean more money, and that's going to limit some opportunities for some other schools because you can't score an SEC opponent on your schedule. And right now this system is going to reward you for wins, but if you include more SEC schools on your schedule, that's going to obviously it's going to make your schedule a little tougher right now. So you would get 3 games, and are you going to schedule 3 gimme games? Are you going to schedule marquee games? What are you going to do scheduling wise when it's wins that really matter? I know we're going to get to the point where the Big Ten and the SEC go, why are we here? We can just go and do this ourselves. We can go do our own thing at our own level, and we'll still play you, but we're going to be at our own thing, doing our own tournament, doing our own playoff, playing for our own national championship with our own television partners. We're going to do our thing without you. And everybody will watch because, well, it's Alabama, it's Ohio State. And, of course, do you think the ACC is just going to stand around and go, sure, go right ahead. You guys do this. You guys seed this thing however you want. You think the Big 12 is going to stand by for that? You think Notre Dame's going to stand by? I mean, as it stands right now, the system might lean towards some of the other power conferences more so in different years. The SEC might have a couple more teams in. The SEC and the Big Ten might get all the spots in certain years. I mean, you'll still have some automatic qualifiers, but if you're looking at seeding, top 4 spots might go to the Big Ten, might go to the SEC, might go. It could be 3-1, it could be 2-2, it could be 4-0. Top 4 SEC schools are the top 4 schools in the country, so they get their first round byes. There's got to be a simple way to make this fair, but the pushback is going to be, why should we make it fair? I think if you want to have long-term health for the game, it needs to be competitive. It needs also to have rules, structure. It has to have sensibility about it. You can have a 16-team playoff, and you can still have the best teams in the country, but you should always look at it from the standpoint, is the 5th team in the SEC really deserving to get into playoff? Is the 6th best SEC team really deserving of getting into the playoff? Or should we have a little more, let's just say, if you win on the field, you win your conference championship, you get in. So right there's 4 locked spots, and then you get the other schools that come in, win those conference championships, and you see the rest. And I think you can still have a compelling championship you can have. And honestly, I do like the fact that we're going with ranking now, so Notre Dame doesn't have to win a conference championship and they could get one of the top 4 seeds. Notre Dame gets in by strength of being Notre Dame, not by, well, we won our conference, so we get an automatic bid. Notre Dame gets in because Notre Dame was worthy. And I think that's where we need to be right now with some of this. And again, we're just shooting it right now because we don't know what's going to happen. So it's just until we have a full picture of what this looks like, we really can't dissect it. But if you're coming from Big Ten country, you're all about this. If you're coming from SEC country, you're all about this. If you're coming from Mid-American Conference country, you're probably not all about this. Or Big 12 country. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 is our text line. We'll get a couple of your texts in when we continue. More on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Spring is here. Clear that pollen and debris with Thoroughbred Express Wash. New members, your first month of unlimited washes is just $10. Any package, anytime. Want the best? Try the Secretariat Wash. Now with Graphene X, advanced technology that protects your car like high-tech armor. Fewer washes, better shine, and long-term paint protection. Plus, enjoy complimentary amenities every time you visit. Join the winner's circle with Thoroughbred Express. Get started at thoroughbredexpress.com.
Calling all steak lovers.
It's time to fire up the flavor at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Introducing the Grill Master Weekend Special. Choose a juicy New York strip or a tender ribeye, cooked just the way you like it, and served with 2 signature sides, all for just $29.99. Big taste, big value, big flavor. But only on the weekends at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Savor the grill and celebrate the weekend like a true champion with the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe on the corner of Fun and 3rd Avenue in downtown Huntington.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
Sup?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
Sup?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The Forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. It's been a few days since we've done this, so let's go. First up, texter says, Paul, I want and am picking UK over the school up north. Go Cats, and also go Knicks. I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that completely. Go Knicks. Hey, it's the first time in a long time I've had something to be excited for the New York Knicks. Maybe they can beat the Pacers. See, I don't like the Pacers. I've never liked the Pacers. I respect Reggie Miller. Don't like Reggie Miller. Respect him. Absolutely couldn't stand him as a player. Never shed a tear when the Pacers would lose in the NBA playoffs, especially with Reggie Miller on the roster. So absolutely going for the Knicks in this one. I'm still saying 7. 7's it's going to be exciting game 7. They might lose in the championship, but I'll take them and get them to the final. Also, are you a UK fan, though? That's the thing. How many UK fans? Be honest with me. Be fair. How many of you are Marshall fans, but you use UK as sort of like your, I don't want to say your bonus team, or hey, they're like your side team. Like, yeah, I'm a Marshall fan, but hey, I kind of root for UK too. Can you do that? Can you do that? And I know people who do that, so yes, it is done, but can you do that? Or is it just, hey, I'm rooting for them because they're playing that other team? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, I have a lot of friends who are both Marshall and UK fans, and it's ridiculous. Appreciate the text. Thank you. I get it. I absolutely get it. If you're just a college football fan, you're a college fan, that's one thing. You can look at a lot of times. You can go to a game. You could go to Athens and you could watch an Ohio game and have fun. You don't have to be an Ohio fan, but you could have a good time. Same thing. Like say Marshall's not playing, you take a road trip, you go to Lexington, you watch UK, watch some SEC football, you can have a good time. It's cool. You're not an SEC fan necessarily. You just like good football, or you're not a UK fan. You just like, you want to see a good game. You want to see something different. Same thing, a lot of people going up to, Columbus, seeing Ohio State. You're not necessarily a Buckeyes fan. You just want to see a good football game. I mean, I'll watch a lot of college football, and I'm not rooting necessarily for a team because I'm a fan of that team. I'm not sporting gear. That's the thing that divides me from a lot of people and people I work with, is I might watch for interest, but I'm not looking, hey, sign me up. Where can I donate? Let me be a booster. Can I get some gear? I want to wear your swag. Completely different. And so I see a lot of people walking around with different swag combinations. I'm like, whoa, hey, okay, so it's Marshall Day today. It's UK Day tomorrow. So, yeah, I appreciate that text, because I'm just sometimes, you can be who you can root for any, I don't care. You can root for anybody you want to, but at the same time, I just kind of think it's convenient. Like, yeah, you know what? Hey, my second team's. I mean, it's one thing if you have dual citizenship. Like, hey, I went here and then I did my graduate work here. Okay, you got me there. You went to both. You got me. And there are a lot of people who go to Marshall that are WVU fans, and they've never been to WVU. There are a lot of people who go to Marshall and then finish up at WVU, so they're kind of root for both, and they kind of support them both, and that's fine, and absolutely. Not a problem with that. But just straight up, you pick whichever team is, hey, they're doing good now. I'm on board with that. I'm not a fan of that. But you do you. Absolutely. I mean, I'm rooting for. I don't like Florida. I like them better than I like Carolina, so I'm rooting for Florida to beat Carolina in the Stanley Cup. And I'm also rooting for the Oilers to beat the Stars in the Stanley Cup playoff because I have interest in Edmonton. I used to be a fan, no longer. I'm gone past the reasons why, but I'll root for them. I'm not going to, if Florida wins, I'm going to get this Florida swag. Same thing with, I like the Lakers and I like the Knicks. I'm 50-50 on that right now. If the Lakers would play the Knicks in the NBA final, you'd have to ask me to pick. And I would pick the Knicks because I don't dislike LeBron James. It's just I haven't been a Lakers fan in a long time because the reasons why I like the Lakers, those are gone. I was a Magic fan. I was a Kareem fan. I was a fan of Showtime. I was a fan of Pat Riley. I liked those days. And I didn't like Boston, so I was always rooting against Boston. Lakers. So I like the Lakers. I like Showtime. My friends when I was growing up, they were Laker fans because Lakers success. But, I like New York. I'm not a Jets fan. I'm not a Giants fan, but I'm a Knicks fan and I'm a hockey fan. I used to follow players, but now I settled on teams. But at the same time, I settled on a team. Okay, this is my team. I'm not like a Bengals fan and okay, the Bengals are out, so hey, let's go Chiefs. Hey, let's go Patrick Mahomes. No, absolutely not. I think it's easier for me at the NFL because I dislike every team equally. More some, with more equal than others. But at the end of the day, you got to do you and have fun. And, if it's making you happy, you don't listen to me. Don't worry about me. But I'm going to make fun of you if, you're wearing a Marshall gear one day and UK the next. I am. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And with that said, should I root for UK or WVU in baseball? I'm actually going to just be a neutral observer. More coming up on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big at Menards and be prepared for summer heat with a new air conditioner from Denali Air. Quickly and efficiently cool your spaces with auto and eco modes to maximize performance and save on energy costs. Featuring 3 fan cooling speeds and a remote control, allowing you to control the comfort settings from anywhere in the room. Save big on Denali Air. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
The soundtrack of your summer is back. Mount West Night Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition. Presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. This Friday, May 30th, it's Emeritus College night with the Settlement on the Marshall OBGYN stage. Little Caesars Kids Zone is back and Gomart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Next Friday, June 6th, Night Street is Dead featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. Mark your calendar for Friday, June 20th when the local Honeys make their Night Street Live debut. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 15th. Night Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Every Friday night through Labor Day. Night Street in Huntington in between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, the City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kindred Communication. Don't miss the fun.
Hi, I'm Nori, and over the years, my mother and I have opened our homes to those who need it most, and it's been so rewarding. I bet you didn't know that some adults who have unfortunately been mistreated need a place to call home in West Virginia. It happens more than you know. They may have some physical or mental limitations, and they need your help. Everyone deserves a place to call their own. I can tell you from my experience, it's worth it.
If you have an open heart and want to open your home, Adult Family Care may be the right fit for you. Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an Adult Family Care Home Finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
Sup?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The Forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Tuesday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We do that daily, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've been talking a little baseball action. WVU and Kentucky meeting in the Clemson Regional this week. It's going to be a Friday game at noon. The loyalties are divided, well, at least not for me, for some. There will be Marshall fans rooting for WVU. There'll be Marshall fans rooting against WVU. There'll be a lot of rooting against something. Texter says, Paul, come on. You got to pick one, UK or WVU to win. I don't have to pick one. Thank you for the text. I don't have to pick one. I can choose for both to lose. See, you don't want me to put this one down because I would pick UK to lose because I would get more fun out of it watching a couple of UK fans that are also Marshall fans squirm. I would get more enjoyment out of that than I would seeing UK beat WVU. So if UK would lose, I would get more enjoyment from that because then I can rattle some cages and have some fun with that. So if you want to force me, that's the road I'm going down on that. Absolutely. Besides, neither one is getting out of the Clemson Regional. If West Virginia gets out of the Clemson Regional, I will be amazed. If Kentucky gets out, I'll be amazed. But neither one is getting out of that regional. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Actually, I think if you're going to ask me truly which team I think is going to win, I think West Virginia's got a better chance. West Virginia played itself out of hosting, to be fair. This is a better team. It just lost its way down the stretch. This is a much better team, and if it's going to go anywhere, it needs to show it. And I think West Virginia can beat Kentucky. Can West Virginia beat Clemson? I don't know, but I think West Virginia can beat Kentucky. So I would go, if you're being serious with me. I know, we're talking about this show where fun is the rule. if we want to be serious for a second, I would think West Virginia, I would take them over Kentucky just because I think West Virginia is the better team. We shall see. You can jump in as well. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 at AM 930. I really didn't get a chance to get to this. A couple of things. First and foremost, Mary Lou Retton arrested and charged with DUI. That was not on my bingo card. The Olympic hero from the state of West Virginia. Can you believe it? Now, she has had some health issues as of late, and we were all sympathetic to that, and we still are. But she's facing a misdemeanor charge now. She was driving under the influence. She was stopped on May 17th. She was driving erratically in a Porsche, smelled of alcohol, according to the criminal complaint, and was slurring her words. She failed a field sobriety test. She refused a roadside breath test and a blood test. She paid a $1,500 personal recognizance bond, so she was released from custody. Officers also in the story report observing a container of wine in the passenger seat. So here she is, the first American female at age 16 to win the all-around at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. Also won 2 silver and 2 bronze medals. And so here we are, gymnastics really started to take off, and you can thank our very own Mary Lou Retton for that. And so when I heard that, I'm like, I get it. We all make mistakes. Driving intoxicated is not one I'm really as forgiving of. If you do something stupid, that's one thing. That's sort of the level of stupid that I look down on. We all make mistakes. But at the same time, that's a mistake that can hurt somebody else. So I'm disappointed in Mary Lou Retton for that. And as much as I applaud her for everything she's done, that's just grateful that nothing came of it other than a little shame, should be a little embarrassment, and hopefully this isn't a real problem, just a lapse of judgment that can be corrected. And then the other one, for you college football fans, video game college football fans, Alabama receiver Ryan Williams, Ohio State receiver Jeremiah Smith, I apologize. Cover athletes for EA Sports College Football 26. I know you all will be lining up for those midnight openings, stores that sell them. Hey, look, I remember the days. You'd go to Walmart, you'd be in line at midnight when they could legally sell it. Now you can just digitally download that stuff. You don't even have to go to the store. You can get it early. You can spend stupid amounts of money to get it a few days early. It's a scam. It's going to be a roster update, maybe a few gameplay tweaks. There you go. That'll be $60 to $100 out of your pocket. I looked at college kids. I can't afford it. You bought a video game for $100. Don't tell me you can't afford something. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you on Thursday. We got baseball coming up tomorrow. The Pirates in action. Taking on the Diamondbacks tonight. 9:15 is going to be our airtime. 3:15 tomorrow. Right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.